Hello, thank you for inviting me to be here today. As Peter said, I am an architect and an educator and a relatively new resident of this area. Before I came here, for 17 years, I lived in New York City where I founded my office and also taught part-time. But one of the reasons that attracted me here is to teach here at Virginia Tech is access to technology and possible collaboration with people in sciences and technology. I make places and experiences with light. For light to become apparent, there needs to be materials. So it is with interaction between light and materials that I create my work. I grew up in Japan where there's a lot of gathering around various sources of light. This one is a photograph of firefly viewing. It's a very temporal, ephemeral experience. It doesn't involve permanent buildings, but people gather around at particular seasons of the year to see the fireflies. In the spring, it's cherry blossoms, it's both during the day and in the evening. And in the summer, there are lantern festivals that turn empty parking lots or parks into festival space or places of gathering overnight. I noticed that there is a large presence of Loeb Fellows here this year, and I guess in previous years too. But I think it's no accident that out of the 17 years that I worked in New York, 4.5 years were spent working with Loeb Fellow James Carpenter, and his work with light and the ephemeral has very strongly influenced my work today. This is a work that I did with my students at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design in Providence. It was an installation that was commissioned by Japan Society to create a place for setting for Concert for Japan, which was fundraising after the tsunami in March of 2011. It was designed collaboratively with my students at RISD, and it was built over 12 hours of the concert at Japan Society, and it involved participation of the audience. So about 70% of these paper lanterns were folded by people who came to the concert. And we ran a workshop where my students showed participants of all ages how to fold the lanterns and to write wishes for the survivors of tsunami. This is a project that I completed, I guess a month ago, with a group of Virginia Tech architecture and landscape architecture students in collaboration with people of ICAT. Eddie talked about it just a few minutes ago. ICAT is Institute for Creativity, Art, and Technology, and I was able to gather a team of computer engineers, electrical engineers, digital music technologists to create an interactive environment with lanterns. The project was commissioned by the local AIA, the American Institute of Architects, and we were asked to create a setting for their biannual award ceremony that was taking place at Blacksburg Farmers Market. You may know this structure. It's a timber frame structure in the center of Blacksburg. And our proposal was to create this luminous ceiling that would create a place of gathering for one night of the event. And over the summer, I worked with a group of 4 students. Some of them are back there. Because this was an outdoor installation, paper is fragile. So rather than trying to fight the natural forces, we decided to embrace it and work with something that's similar to centipede kites, so that the lanterns would respond to the wind and it would sway and rotate just enough not to scare people or to make us nervous. These 3 images are 3 iterations of our design. We went from, I can't see the images. It was an iterative process that involved different paper kite sizes, openings in the kites to not resist wind so much, so as to control the movement. I can't see. And I think an important piece that was different from the Japan Society installation was that it was digitally interactive. As people walked through the farmers market, the colors of the kites would shift in response to occupancy of the space. And there would also be sound of wood chime that would go off as people move from one bay to another. Oops. I worked with Brennan Bortz, who is a PhD student in computer science, and Ito Bukovic, who is a professor, associate professor in digital music. They helped me create this interactive environment. These show motion sensor capturing or intercepting the light through human motion, and when the input results in output, and the output is the change in color and the change in sound. And this shows the mapping of the relationship of input to output. And this is the night before the event. We had, in addition to the 4 primary members, we had volunteers that worked very late into the night to install it. Oops. Okay. And here you see Brennan still programming up until the last minute. And this is the night of the event. The colors were a little bit different on the night, but we got to experience the interactive light and sound in the way we had intended it the night after the event. This is it. So I'm standing below one bay where the colors are very deep red, and that's because of my presence in that space. And hopefully this video, okay. Sound. Okay. So this was a group of thesis students in architecture that was exploring the relationship between performing arts and space architecture. You could see that when she started to dance, you could start to hear the sound, and the programmers used this pendulum simulation to make the sound reverberate as more people occupy the space. And as soon as they left the stage, the color changed to pink. And the day after the event, it was farmers market. It was intended to stay up for that event as well. So this is without electric light, but with daylight. There's no change in color, but with natural wind and a natural daylight hitting the surface of the rice paper, it created this luminous ceiling. And the farmers really enjoyed it and said that it brought the scale of the pavilion down to the human scale. Thank you very much.